Darkcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Two suspects are being. One case involves the FBI is now offering $100,000 to see if the police are releasing verified.
Welcome to Misty Mysteries. I'm your host Keely, and this is a true crime and paranormal podcast. And I'm going to be telling you about a haunting in a Scotland town called Inveraray. A couple of weeks back, my good friend Dawn over at Scottish Murders sent me a cute care package full of items from her vacation. And as a big thank you to her, I want to tell you about not only her podcast, Scottish Murders, which I love, but fill you in with the haunting of one of the places she visited while on her vacation, the Inveraray Castle, and the haunting you may experience while there. I do apologize in advance for any mispronunciation of words. Some of the words today are based in or are in Gaelic, which can be hard to pronounce, but I did my best to learn how to say everything correctly in my California accent.
I'm Dawn. And I'm Cole. And Scottish Murders is a true crime podcast dedicated to people from or living in Scotland.
Just like anywhere else in the world, these murders can be truly horrific and shocking, and we want to shine more light upon them.
Join us every 2 weeks on Scottish Murders, where we'll bring you cases both solved and unsolved, giving you an insight into the other side of bonnie Scotland.
Find us wherever you stream your podcasts, as well as on social media.
Join us there. Bye!
Let's dive into the town. Inveraray is what I would say a small town. It has a population of 580 people, and it sits on the shore of Argyll and Bute on the western shores of Loch Fyne. The town was first established in 1745 by the head of the Clan Campbell, the 3rd Duke of Argyll, Archibald Campbell. It looks like a very cute waterfront tourist town full of history, and one of the most historical places is Inveraray Castle. There was a castle standing before the town was established, dating back to the 1400s, but the castle you may visit today wasn't built until after 1877. The first idea of this castle came from the sketches of Van Brugh, the architect who designed Blenheim Castle and Castle Howard in the early 1700s. The 3rd Duke, Archibald Campbell, started the stone foundation of the castle in 1746, but neither he nor the architect got to see the castle complete, since the construction did not finish until 43 years later. After construction finished, a fire broke out in the castle in 1877, causing damage that led to an addition of a 3rd floor and conical roofs on the corner towers. If you're like me and you may not know what a conical roof is without researching the topic, conical roofs are inverted cone-shaped roofs usually put on the top of towers on castles. The best way to explain it is the Rapunzel Tower, those beautiful princess-type towers, the roofs on those. The castle we know today is mainly from this rebuilt in 1877, but in 1975, another fire broke out, which led to a full restoration of the central tower, as well as a full replaster and painting of the whole castle. Since then, the castle has been very well taken care of, and when the 13th Duke and his wife, Duchess Eleanor, took over the castle in 2001, they have been able to add their own renovations, adding to the castle, which they have now opened as a museum, as well as it being their home they live in with their children. With any castle, and truly any place that has seen royalty, it is obviously going to be very full of history. But with any castle like this, historically, there's traumatic events, and it may leave behind some spirits. In 1644, due to civil war, the castle was burnt and ransacked, but before this happened, the Duke was able to escape on a boat, leaving behind those who worked in the castle. One of these was a young Irish boy who played the harp for the Duke. When the boy was found by the soldiers that ransacking the castle, they were so angry that an Irish boy would be working for the Duke that they murdered the boy, and to send a message to the Duke, they then dismembered the boy, leaving him in the Duke's bed. It is believed that this boy became very attached to this bed, and when the castle was rebuilt, those who lived and visited the castle started to report that this boy was still in the castle. He is particularly in the MacArthur room, where the bed that he was left on after his death sits today. This boy seems to be most active with members of the Campbell family, and in particular the women of the family. So most duchess of this castle have experienced him. From the MacArthur room, employees of the castle, as well as those who live and visit there, complain of headaches and the feeling of sadness or grief when they enter the room. Cold spots are very often felt, as well as deep sensations of dread. The most famous haunting of this boy happens when a family member of the Campbell clan passes away. As the family member is passing away, harp music can be heard coming from the room, even when there are no harps currently in the castle. The last family member that this was experienced with was the 10th Duke, Niall Campbell. On August 20th, 1949, the Duke was lying in his bed while his doctor and a local minister watched over him when they started to hear a harp from down the hall. The two went to investigate where it was coming from, and when they made their way back to the room, the Duke had passed away. The boy also seems to be a fan of the library. People claim that he moves books around, and the music that he plays is sometimes even heard in there as well. Visitors also report that in the library, they will break out in laughter for no reason. When the TV show Most Haunted visited this castle, he showed them the reason why they should be there by throwing books and moving a chair across the MacArthur room, which was seen with one hand, nothing attached to the hand, just the hand dragging the chair across the room. Other reports of hauntings outside of this young boy is a lady in a gray dress. We do not know who she is, but it's believed that she was murdered in the castle at one point, and she is only known as the Gray Lady. Now, for some of my personal favorites in the castle, the first is that of a ghost that warned about the death days before it happened. 2 days before the death of a Campbell, a ghostly ship was seen sailing in the water nearby. But when the ship reached land, it continued to sail over the land until it reached the castle. In the 18th century, one of the Campbells saw this, and it's believed he ended up drinking poison so he would not upset the crew of this ghost ship. This last one was on July 10th, 1758. A doctor named William Hart was walking around the castle property with 2 other men when the 3 men saw a battle taking place in the sky between soldiers. One side of the battle started to retreat, leaving behind their dead. 2 women also witnessed this event, and just 2 days after the event, news broke of a battle between the Highland Regiment that lost 300 soldiers on July 10th, 1758, while attacking a fort held by the French. Those last 2, I think, are some of the most interesting I have ever heard. But what do you think? I want to hear all and any experiences you may have had or any evidence you may have at this castle. You can do that by following Misty Mysteries on any of my social media and messaging me there or commenting. For now, I want to thank you for being here, and a huge thank you to Dawn for being so amazing, sending me lots of goodies, and showing me this castle. If you want to know what Dawn gave me, you can see that over on my Instagram, and I will go into more detail about it on my Patreon exclusive behind the scenes. Please check out Scottish Murders on all of your favorite listening places. Please stay safe out there, stay hydrated, and I will see you next week.